Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestants. Player one. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thanks, Johnny. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. Good luck to you in the Jeopardy round. For this game, the categories are as follows. What planet are you from? Let's celebrate. Mythology. Utopia. 1907. And not nominated for Best Picture. Player one, where do we start? Some say his 12 labors were penance for killing his wife Megara and their children. Here's what we wanted. Hercules. Select again. Jupiter is the Roman equivalent of this Greek god. Let's hear it, player one.
Yeah!
That's correct. We return to you, player one. She was given a box and told not to open it. She did, releasing the world's evil, but shut it before hope could escape. It's player one. Good. Player one, back to you for our next selection. And I'll hand it off to Kelly.
According to Greek myth, this monster depicted here 8 people who could not answer its riddle.
It's player one. Yep. Player one, you pick again, please. This Greek sea god could cause springs to flow and create storms with a flourish of his trident. It's player one. That's correct. You get to pick again, player one. Bogey and Hepburn floated across the screen in this 1951 film that pleased audiences and critics, but not the Academy. Here's the response we were looking for. The African Queen. You get to pick again, player one. You couldn't drag a Best Picture nomination out of the Academy for this 1959 Billy Wilder film. Well, nobody's perfect. The correct response is Some Like It Hot. Player one, back to you. The Academy must have been out to lunch not nominating this 1961 Audrey Hepburn-George Peppard film. Here's what we were looking for. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Player one, pick again. In 1954, this Jimmy Stewart and Grace Kelly starer from Alfred Hitchcock didn't get a second glance. Here's the correct response. Rear Window. Player one, pick again. Driving Miss Daisy won for 1989, the year this Spike Lee film about urban racism was passed over. Here's the correct response. Do the Right Thing. Player one, back to you. The patron saint of lovers is honored on this annual holiday. Let's hear it, player one. Good. Player one, pick again. Former U.S. Senator Gaylord Nelson founded this annual observance devoted to the environment. Yes, player one?
Yeah!
That is correct. Player one, pick again. Answer, it's the Daily Double. You are currently in the lead. How much? Answer this. Customs on this 121st day of the year include dancing around a pole and giving baskets to friends and family. Right. Player one, back to you for our next selection. Collecting money for UNICEF on this holiday was begun in 1950 by a Philadelphia Sunday school class. It's player one. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's the response we were looking for. Halloween. Player 1, choose again. Meaning a coming, it's the period before Christmas that begins on the Sunday nearest to November 30th. Player 1? Yep. You again, Player 1. It has seasonal weather patterns and iron-rich minerals in the soil, giving it a distinct red color. Yes, Player 1? Yes. Player 1, back to you. Greater in mass than all the other planets combined, it's surrounded by dozens of moons. Player 1? Correct. We return to you, Player 1. It's the smallest and densest of the outer gas giants and has an appropriate name, as it has a watery interior. It's Player 1. Right. Player 1, back to you. Its mean distance from the Sun is only about 36 million miles. Let's hear it, Player 1. That's right. Way to go. Player 1, you pick again, please. Bands of debris and ice surround it, as do its satellites, including Titan. Yes, Player 1? Good. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. Florenz Ziegfeld produced his first of these extravaganzas in 1907 and would continue them for the next 24 years. Here's the correct response. The Follies. Player 1, pick again. For works like Gunga Din, he became the first Brit awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. Here's what we were looking for. Rudyard Kipling. Player 1, pick again. With this man as president, the government budget was $579 million, and unemployment stood at 2.8%. Player 1? Yep. You get to pick again, Player 1. Charles Curtis, Republican, Kansas, became the first Native American to serve as one of these. It's Player 1. Right you are. Player 1, back to you. More than 40 nations attended the Second International This Conference in The Hague. Here's the correct response. Peace. Please pick again, Player 1. Olympic competition in 1900 included this type of swimming, judged on distance and time submerged. Player 1? That is correct. We return to you, Player 1. The Salgir, the Chernaya, the Alma, and the Dnieper are all rivers that flow through this country. It's Player 1. That's not it. We're talking about Ukraine. Please pick again, Player 1. It's the quality of being useful, or the useful knife used to cut drywall. We're talking about utility. You get to pick again, Player 1. An adjective meaning of an elevated region, or the main type of cotton grown in the American South. It's Player 1. Good for you. Here's the $1,000 clue for you. The match is coming before the main boxing match. The correct response is undercard. The Jeopardy round will begin right after this. We start the Double Jeopardy categories with this one. Gems and jewelry. All things operatic. Assassin and victim. Royalty on film. Botany. And word origins. All right, if you're ready, it's double Jeopardy time. This ground meat sandwich gets its name from a German port city. Okay, player one. No, that's not right. Here's what we were looking for. A hamburger. Player one, choose again. This wood-eating insect gets its name from the Latin for wood-eating worm. Yes, player one? Yep.
Yeah! Woo!
We return to you, player one. Answer? One of the daily doubles. And you're in the lead now. So what's your wager? All right, here's your clue. This word for a kind of land mass comes from a word meaning to contain. Right. Player one, you pick again, please. This highest natural singing voice for women is Italian for what is above. Okay, player one.
Yeah!
You got it. Player one, you pick again, please. This term for a leading character of a literary work comes from the Greek for first combatant. Yes, player one? That is correct. You again, player one. Kelly will present this clue.
The final act of this Bizet opera takes place outside a bull ring, similar to this one, where the heroine is stabbed to death.
Here's the correct response. Carmen. We return to you, player one. In 1939, she made her operatic debut in Cavalleria Rusticana in Athens at the age of 15. We're talking about Maria Callas. Please pick again, player one. This Barnaby Rudge author wrote the libretto for John Hulla's The Village Coquettes. Here's the response we were looking for. Charles Dickens. Player one, choose again. The three basic vocal classifications for women opera singers are soprano, mezzo-soprano, and this lowest range. Here's the correct response. Contralto. Player one, you pick again, please. Italian opera of the early 1700s developed into two basic types, opera seria, or serious opera, and this, comic opera. Here's the response we were looking for. Opera buffa. You again, player one. Helen Mirren as this queen in The Queen. Let's hear it, player one. Right. Player one. Pick again. Kate Blanchett in 1998 as this title queen. Here's the correct response. Elizabeth I. Please pick again, player one. Kirsten Dunst in 2006 as this title queen. Here's what we were looking for. Marie Antoinette. We return to you, player one.
Yeah!
Answer. The second daily double. You are currently in the lead. What'll it be? The clue. Robert Shaw was him in A Man for All Seasons. That's it. You get to pick again, player one. Katharine Hepburn was her in The Lion in Winter. Here's the response we were looking for. Eleanor of Aquitaine. You again, player one. Marcus Junius Brutus et al., 44 BC. It's player one.
Woo!
Right. We return to you, player one. James Earl Ray, 1968. Let's hear it, player one.
Woo!
Good for you. You again, player one. Nathuram Godse, 1948. Here's the correct response. Mohandas Gandhi. Please pick again, player 1. Leon Czolgosz, 1901. Here's the correct response. William McKinley. Player 1, you pick again, please. Yigal Amir, 1995. Here's the correct response. Yitzhak Rabin. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. The long leaves of the milfoil plant are especially suited to absorb this gas underwater. Let's hear it, player 1. Hey, you're right. Player 1, you pick again, please. Parasitic fungi cause this disease of cereal grasses that forms black powdery masses. Here's what we were looking for. Smut. Select again. This term, which is from the Greek for naked seed, refers to non-flowering plants such as conifers. Okay, player 1. Sorry, that's wrong. Here's the response we were looking for. Gymnosperm. Player 1, choose again. This part of a plant's pistil has chemicals in it that will cause it to reject the wrong types of pollen. Here's the correct response. Stigma. Player 1, back to you. You can collect water from a plant's leaves because they lose water vapor through pores called these. Player 1. That's not it. We're talking about stomata. We return to you, player 1. Legacy rings inspired by the Edwardian era are exclusive to this preeminent Fifth Avenue jeweler. We're talking about Tiffany. You get to pick again, player 1. Miss TAMBLYN knows that lots of jewelry is made from this brownish-yellow fossil resin. Here's what we were looking for. Amber. You get to pick again, player 1. In 1974, the newly discovered gem Tsavorite got its name derived from this continent's Tsavo National Park. Let's hear it, player 1. Sorry. Here's the response we were looking for. Africa. Player 1, you pick again, please. Here's Jimmy.
Headdresses of silver or white beads are common among the Aka, a tribe indigenous to the southeast part of this continent.
The correct response is Asia. And the $2,000 clue? The name of this romantic ring comes from an old Irish fishing village that's now part of Galway. The correct response is a claddagh. I'll see you for Final Jeopardy in just a moment. Here's the Final Jeopardy category. Economics. So, what's your wager? Here's the clue for you. In 2007, this 18th century professor and writer became the first Scotsman to appear on an English banknote. Let's see your response. Sorry, that incorrect response will drop your score by... Here's the correct response. Adam Smith. Congratulations, player 1. You are our new champion. We'll see you all next time.
Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestant. Player one. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thanks, Johnny. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. Good luck to you in the Jeopardy round. For this game, the categories are as follows. Finish the proverb. Historic London. Banned books. Sports zone. Arachnids. And state capitals. Okay, let's get back into this. Player one, you make the next selection as we continue. Too many cooks. Yes, player one. Correct. Player one, choose again. You can't judge a book. It's player one. Yes. Player one, you pick again, please. Nothing ventured? Player one? That's right, way to go. Player one, back to you for our next selection. He who laughs last. Okay, player one. Right. Player one, back to you. Man cannot live. Okay, player one. You are correct. Player one, back to you for our next selection. You can visit several of these historic structures like Kensington and Buckingham. Let's hear it, player one. Yep. You again, player one. Regent's Park was a hunting ground for this 16th century king who never hunted without tiring 8 or 10 horses. Okay, player one. Good for you. We return to you, player one. Famous men who orated at Hyde Park's Speaker's Corner include Friedrich Engels and this 1848 Engels co-author. Okay, player one. Yes. Player one, you pick again, please. Arthur Wellesley, the first Duke of this, was known as a soldier, but had an eye for art, as you can see at Apsley House. Okay, player one. Good for you. You get to pick again, player one. Answer. It's the Daily Double. You are in the lead right now. Please enter your wager. All right, here's your clue. According to Shakespeare, these conflicts began with a confrontation in the Temple Gardens. Right you are. Player one, choose again. This story was banned in California because the heroine was bringing wine as well as food to her grandma. It's player one.
Yeah!
Yes. Select again. In 1929, Italy banned his Call of the Wild, and Yugoslavia banned all of his books as being too radical. Player one?
Yeah!
That's correct. Player one, you pick again, please. Predictably, in 1967, Lysistrata by Aristophanes was banned in this country, then controlled by a military junta. Let's hear it, player one. Good. Player one, pick again. England indicted this supporter of the Revolutionary War for his Rights of Man. His publisher was prosecuted. It's player one. Good.
Yeah! Woo!
We return to you, Player 1. Viola's cross-dressing in this Shakespeare play ran afoul of a New Hampshire prohibition of Alternative Lifestyle Act. It's Player 1.
Yeah!
Yes. Please pick again, Player 1. When a basketball player goes walking with the ball too long without dribbling, it's called this. Are we there yet? Let's hear it, Player 1. Yes. You get to pick again, Player 1. Let's go over to Kelly.
Sluggers try to get backspin on the ball because it makes air move faster over the upper surface, providing this elevating force on the underside.
It's Player 1. Correct. Please pick again, Player 1. Every spring, the Augusta National Golf Course hosts this famous tournament. Okay, Player 1. That's right. Way to go. Player 1. Pick again. Tony Stewart lives life in the fast lane as one of the big names in this type of auto racing. Yes, Player 1? That is correct. Player 1, choose again. In 2004, she became the first soccer player to carry the U.S. flag for the Olympic closing ceremonies. It's Player 1. Right you are. You again, Player 1. This large, hairy type of spider takes its name from an Italian town. Let's hear it, Player 1. Good for you. Player 1, choose again. Texas cattle fever is one of many diseases transmitted by the bite of this type of blood-sucking arachnid. Let's hear it, Player 1. Good for you. You get to pick again, Player 1. At least 2 types of poison are known to be injected by its tail stinger, hemotoxin and neurotoxin. Let's hear it, Player 1. That is correct.
Yeah! Woo!
Player 1, you pick again, please. Also known as the Harvest Man, this spindly arachnid differs from spiders in that it has only a single body segment. Yes, Player 1? No. Here's the correct response. The daddy longlegs. Player 1, choose again. Arachnids are a major class of this phylum that includes insects and crustaceans. Okay, Player 1. That is correct. Player 1, back to you. The old barracks in this New Jersey capital housed Continental Army troops during the Revolution. It's Player 1.
Yeah.
Right. Player 1, pick again. The site for this capital was chosen because of its location between Pensacola and St. Augustine. Yes, Player 1?
Yeah!
You are correct. Player 1, choose again. At an elevation of about 7,000 feet, this city in New Mexico's Sangre de Cristo Mountains is the highest state capital. Let's hear it, Player 1. No, sorry. Here's the response we were looking for. Santa Fe. Select again. When Kansas became a state in 1861, this city became capital. It's player 1. Good for you. And now the $1,000 clue. 2 state capitals with city in their names lie west of the Rocky Mountains: Salt Lake City and this one. It's player 1. Yep. The Double Jeopardy round will begin right after this. We start the Double Jeopardy categories with this one. Language Lab, Flowers. Literary Great Escapes, Pop Gals, Archipelagos, and the scintillating 1700s. All right, if you're ready, it's Double Jeopardy. Most languages of Western Europe get their words for read and write from this language's leggere and scribere. Yes, player 1? Right. Please pick again, player 1. Hochdeutsch is the modern standard form of this language. Okay, player 1. Correct. Player 1, back to you. The pinyin system for writing this language in the English alphabet was officially adopted January 1st, 1979. Yes, player 1? Right. Player 1, pick again. In French, Hier Henri m'aimait, yesterday Henry loved me, is an example of this flawed past tense. Okay, player 1?
Yeah!
That is correct. Select again. Answer, the first of the daily doubles. And you're in the lead now. So, what's your wager? Answer, Douglas Hyde, also known as Ancrethan Ethan, fought to preserve this language and founded a league of the same name. That is correct. Player 1, pick again. This country isn't out of kilter with the thistle as its national flower. Okay, player 1. Nope. Here's the correct response. Scotland. Player 1, pick again. On March 22, 1994, the Dutch ambassador to the United States gave her a new tulip named for her. Player 1? Right. Please pick again, player 1. Singularly speaking, the bright blue cornflower is known as this button. It's player 1. Good. Player 1, choose again. All right, here with the clue is Jimmy.
Also called galanthus, it's among the earliest garden flowers to blossom in spring.
Let's hear it, player 1. Right.
Yeah! Woo!
We return to you, player 1. Spencer, the other daily double. You are in the lead right now. So, what's your wager? Okay, here is the clue. Bloom forms of this large hardy perennial include spoon, quill, and pompon. Right. Select again. In this 1852 work, Eliza makes a harrowing escape across a frozen river from a slave trader named Halley. Yes, player one? Yes. Please pick again, player one. By clinging to the belly of a ram, this mythological figure escaped from the cave of the Cyclops. Okay, player one?
Yeah.
Right you are. Player one, back to you for our next selection. Henri Charrière recounted his numerous escape attempts from French prisons in South America in this work. Okay, player one? That's correct. You get to pick again, player one. In The Deerslayer, this character escapes from the Hurons when Chingachgook helps to free him. Player one? Right you are. Please pick again, player one. Pangloss keeps his incorrigible optimism intact when he escapes an incompetent hangman's noose in this satire. Yes, player one?
Yeah.
Hey, you're right. Player one, you pick again, please. The first 5 singles off her album, Teenage Dream, reached #1 on Billboard's Hot 100 list. Okay, player one? No. Here's what we wanted. Katy Perry. Select again. This Girl Like Me and Disturbia songstress was born in Barbados. It's player one.
Yeah.
Right. Player one, choose again. It wasn't déjà vu when this member of Destiny's Child sang with Jay-Z on the song Déjà Vu. The correct response is Beyoncé Knowles. We return to you, player one. Fans go ape over this gal born Stephanie Germanotta, who hit #1 with Bad Romance. Yes, player one? That's it. You get to pick again, player one. In 2005, she topped the album charts with The Emancipation of Mimi. Okay, player one. Hey, you're right. Player one, back to you. Sitka is the largest city in this state's Alexander Archipelago. Yes, player one? Hey, you're right.
Yeah. Woo.
Player one, back to you for our next selection. In 1965, the Cook Islands became self-governing in free association with this country that provides for their defense. It's player one. You got it. Player one, you pick again, please. This Scottish archipelago is famous not only for its ponies, but also for a breed of dog. Okay, player one. That is correct. Player 1, back to you. This Pacific Island country is named for a British sea captain, not Happy Days producer Gary. It's Player 1. That's correct. Player 1, back to you for our next selection. This Portuguese archipelago once served as a stop for the treasure galleons returning to Spain from America. Yes, Player 1? Right. Please pick again, Player 1. The future King George II lost his marbles over Henrietta Howard and gave her Marble Hill House on this river. Yes, Player 1? Right. Player 1. Pick again. A famous one of these, Marie Camargo, is remembered for shortening her skirts to calf length. Yes, Player 1? That's it. Please pick again, Player 1. In 1752, suave seducer Sergei Saltykov spiced up the life of this future empress. Yes, Player 1? That is correct. We return to you, Player 1. Born into a family of actors, he was expelled from a seminary, big surprise, before finding fame as a lusty libertine. Yes, Player 1? That's it. And the $2,000 clue? Jimmy will present this clue.
An engraving of this 18th century French monarch, America's most powerful ally during the Revolution, hangs at Mount Vernon.
Yes, Player 1? Yep. Good game. I'll see you for Final Jeopardy in a moment. Time to get ready for Final Jeopardy. And today the category is this: historic purchases. You need to select your wager. All right, players, this is what it comes down to. Here is the Final Jeopardy clue. The English received this person from the Burgundians in 1431 for the sum of 10,000 francs. What did you put as your response? How much do you add to your total with that correct response? Congratulations, Player 1. You are our new champion. Thanks for playing. We'll see you next time.